A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rachayata Siddharth, and it is with great pleasure that Team Logistics Insider extends a warm welcome to all of you for our virtual event focused on one of the most critical and intricate sectors in today's global landscape, the pharmaceutical supply chain. The theme of today's show is navigating disruptions and advancements in the global pharma supply chain. Now, in a world where every link in the supply chain is interwoven with complexities, innovations, and challenges, we gather here today to shed light on the strategies, disruptions, and advancements that shape the pharmaceutical products reach those who need them the most. The global pharmaceutical industry stands at a crossroads of transformation, driven by the ever evolving demands of healthcare, technology breakthroughs, and unforeseen disruptions. For the pharma supply chain, precision, efficiency, and safety are paramount, and each step in the journey, right from research and development to manufacturing and distribution, plays a role in safeguarding human well being. I'd like to inform our audience that this show is powered by the freight forwarding global leader Gina and Company. With an unwavering commitment to excellence, Gina and Co have made their share of efforts to redefine how pharmaceutical supply chain is navigated. Their innovative approaches have not only withstood disruptions but have also embraced advancements, ensuring that life saving medications reach patients in timely, secure, and efficient manner. Through their dedicated efforts, Gina and Co exemplify the very essence of this event, a commitment to steering through challenges while harnessing advancements to elevate the global pharma supply chain to new heights. The unparalleled expertise of our guests for today has consistently propelled the industry forward, demonstrating how adaptability and innovation go hand in hand. From optimizing cold chain logistics to integrating cutting edge digital solutions, they have played their individual roles in setting benchmarks that inspire to explore the uncharted waters of advancement while maintaining the integrity of critical supply networks. With that, let me introduce you to our guests. Let's start with the moderator, Mr. Prakash Singh, Vice President, Pharma and Life Sciences Logistics, Gina and Company. A seasoned professional with a wealth of experience spanning over 15 years in international and domestic shipping, as well as healthcare business developments, with a special emphasis on exports and imports. His expertise in cold chain management to uphold product integrity during transit exemplifies his commitment to excellence in this critical domain, and his journey is marked by a deep passion for healthcare and patient well being, a commitment that resonates in his contributions. Welcome to the show, Mr. Singh.
Thank you, Rachit.
Now that I have our moderator with me on the screen, let me introduce you to our first guest speaker, Mr. Vinod Jonathan, General Manager, Markin India. Mr. Jonathan is a seasoned professional with a proven track record in the logistics and supply chain sector. With a rich career spanning 21 years in the healthcare logistics, Mr. Jonathan's expertise encompasses a multitude of roles, including administration, quality, operations, and P&L management. His quality focused mindset is complemented by his achievement as a DGR qualified and certified instructor from IATA, underlining his dedication to safety and compliance. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Rachita.
Now, next up is Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee, General Manager, Distribution and Logistics, Reliance Life Sciences Private Limited. He has over 22 years of experience in biopharmaceutical distribution and logistics. Across his multifaceted career, Mr. Chatterjee's expertise spans domains like logistics and procurement, MIS, operations, and marketing support, culminating in his current role where he focuses on innovative strategies for cost optimization. Under his leadership, RLS has not only reduced freight costs but also significantly increased shipment volumes for domestic and export markets. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Rachita.
Now let's welcome our next guest, Mr. Halit Tansar, Cargo Director, South Asia, Turkish Airlines. He is a trailblazer in the world of aviation and logistics. Mr. Tansar's journey with Turkish Airlines has been one of innovation and leadership. From his pivotal role in the migration project from legacy crew planning software to leveraging his expertise for similar endeavor with Turkish Cargo, he has consistently demonstrated his ability to navigate complex challenges. With a rich background spanning technology, aviation, and logistics, Mr. Tansar's insights promise to illuminate our discussions. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the instruction.
And finally, we have our last guest, although he has not joined us, but I'll still introduce you to him. He's Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur, Vice President, Supply Chain Management, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories. With an illustrious 30-year career, Dr. Mathur is an accomplished supply chain professional and a published author, renowned for his expertise in various facets of supply chain. He holds influential positions on supply chain councils and academic boards of business schools, while also being a sought after speaker at international conferences and esteemed Indian universities. And his co authored academic paper, which is hosted by Harvard Business Publishing Education, stands as a testament to his industry insights. We will be informing you once Mr. Mathur joins. And oh, he's here. He's here. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mathur.
Sorry about the technical glitch here.
That's okay. That's completely fine. Technology, what can we say? So, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have all our guests with us, let us embark on this journey together, an expedition that will not only illuminate the disruptions and advancements in the global pharma supply chain, but also equip us with the insights needed to transform challenges into opportunities. Welcome once again, and I look forward to an enriching and equally thought provoking discussions. Before I hand over the reins to Mr. Singh, I would like to inform our audience that we will be taking questions from your end towards the end of this show. So please drop your questions in the comments box below. So, with that, let me hand over the floor to our moderator, and I will see you at the end of the session. Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you, Rachita, for a wonderful introduction. And very good afternoon to all our audience. I would like to thanks to our esteemed panel member, and I'm sure with the size of their experience and domain knowledge and expertise, it is going to be largely benefited to our audience today. And as Rachita has mentioned, the topic of discussion is today is uh, uh, navigating the disruptions and what are the advancement in global pharma supply chain. So as Rachita has rightly mentioned that this pharma supply chain has never got so much attention before the recent pandemic. Post this pandemic and certain these geopolitical disturbance and developments, the pharma everybody has realized the importance of pharma supply chain, having the robust pharma supply chain in place. Therefore, today during this session, we will be talking about the evolution of modern pharma supply chain, how we have evolved over the years, and at the same time we will be our panel member will also be talking about what are the disruptions and complexities are still existing to modern pharma supply chain and the advancements which are taking place, like related to cold chain infrastructure. Regulatory frameworks are changing for global pharma supply chain, be it compliance, quality, as well as technological reforms are happening. So we will be talking covering the entire this topic during our 1 hour session. And with that, I would like to straight go to our panel. colleagues to understand in detail and understand their views and suggestion on the same. So with that, I'd like to go first to Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee to understand how these disruptions, be it geopolitical developments or sudden, now we see sudden climate change as well as economical disruption. At the same time, there are so many other disruptions and complexities are there. How these disruptions are affecting to the global pharma supply chain, and it would be great if you can also highlight how we can navigate through these disruptions so that continuity of medicines or pharma supplies there in a right condition on a right time to the patient. So over to you, Mr. Somitra.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Prakash. Thank you for having me as a panel member. That's a very important question. What we have been discussing is what is the impact of the pandemic, the natural disaster. As you said, uh, the this pandemic simply highlighted the challenges that pharma supply chain is facing. But if you see, it was always a challenge. It was never a smooth ride. It only aggravated it. So if you see, in terms of climate change, suddenly the roads washed out, the train tracks are filled in, ports boats are not able to leave the ports. This created a havoc throughout the supply chain. Inventories were not available. Machinery plants, when plants, whether AMC were due, we were not able to get the machinery parts to our plant on time. So we had to make a lot of provisions so we can get in. Apart from that, freight cost went up significantly because flights were not operating. Ship were operating, but they were blank sailing. There were no containers. So all this, and there is a big supply bottleneck that created. And there's a cascading effect. So when pharmaceutical companies are required to manufacture and make the product available to the consumers, we are not able to do that. So it was a major challenge. And as for the navigating these disruptions, what I would, as my understanding is, since we have experienced these natural disasters, this pandemic, we have to consider the lessons that we have learned. And we should need to put to use. So, starting with that we should have should have a regular, robust risk management strategy. It should have all the details about where we are sourcing, what is the plan, what happens if there's a disruption in the natural calamity, where there's a what do you say, through many technology now we can know the weather patterns that are changing, how much changes. For example, we had a challenge when there was a snow blizzard at Amsterdam. Our cold chain shipment was lying there for at least 7 to 10 days. So how it was to be able to manage that? So we know that temperature will be dropping during that period. So instead of sending via Amsterdam, can we send it, say, via Istanbul or via Doha or some other place? So that kind of risk assessment we can do. Apart from that, we should have a contingency plan. So if this happens, and it will happen, what we are seeing is continuously these things are happening. So how do we have a contingency plan? So that is very important. So we can have dual sourcing of, say, for example, when we wanted glass bottles. Now glass bottles were procured from, say, Italy, and this were the only supplier. You know what was the condition of Italy at the time of COVID. They could not supply, they could not manufacture, and we could not get it. So we have to have multiple options wherein we can procure it from others, if not the only supplier. So we should have dual or triple sourcing. We should have options for that. Uh, One more thing I would like to say is the communication with our partners. It could be suppliers, it could be vendors. I call them channel partners. We to have open communication with them, because when we have an open communication, it helps to, when we are talking to them, we understand the potential risk that they are facing. apart from the natural calamity or a pandemic, it could be political. So if we can get a heads up saying that this is an issue that might crop up. So if we are a partner, of course, we can get heads up, we can work through it, we can work ahead, because a pharma supply chain expert has to always think 2 steps ahead. They cannot be lagging behind. So we have to be ready for what is coming in. Apart from, also we should do conduct regular supplier checks to understand is there any challenges there, how we can help them through are they following the regulatory compliance and all, because many times it happens that partner doesn't follow regulatory compliance, goods come to us and we are not able to make our commitments, not able to produce, so it hampers the entire chain from end to end. Quality issues come up, so quality is also a very important factor. And apart from, and also if we are a partner, if we can go there and give feedback and help them to improve their uh, plant machinery working or processes, ultimately it helps us, it helps them, it helps us. So and last but not the least is a cliche thing, we should invest in technology like blockchain, AI and machine learning, because all these will help us to give predict about the weather, about the conditions, about the market turmoil that is happening. So this is how I suggest we should be going ahead.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for these valuable insights, sir. And I would say you rightly mentioned that we should learn from this. The lesson has been learned during the COVID-19 post pandemic, and we should continue this learning. This should not stop
Right.
here. We should take it forward. And you rightly mentioned that we should have an open communication with our channel partner, with our supply chain partner, be it the shipping line, be it the trade forwarder, or anybody transporter in the entire chain. So that definitely help us. They get updated about the requirement of what's happening around us. At the same time, very interested suggestions that you mentioned about the root risk assessment and risk management, and having the contingency plan in place. And technological, definitely we'll be talking, Dr. Ravi Mathur will be addressing about the advancement in terms of technology, and I'm sure he would be guiding the forum that how technology will help us. So thanks for these suggestions, sir, and definitely we should take into consideration going forward. Thank you. So
Thank you.
moving on to our next topic, which has been has been discussed nowadays frequently in any seminar, conference, and all, and it has become so much important. Like especially if I talk about the cold chain management. So now cold chain, everybody is talking across the globe cold chain management, which has become very important for pharmaceutical. I would like to understand from Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur. Sir, people are talking about cold chain management and its importance, and post COVID it has become more important. Minus 22 to 8, 15 to 25 different temperature ranges are required for pharma supplies. Can you, sir, guide us why this temperature management has become so important for pharma supplies? And it would also be great if you can cite some example where this temperature management has helped in product as well as patient safety. So over to you, Dr. Mathur.
Thanks, Prakash, for putting the spotlight on the cold chain aspect of supply chain and logistics. So to answer your first question, I would say the cold chain logistics have always been very important. And the reason why you need cold chain logistics is because that is a requirement of the product. To give you a brief summary, in the pharma world, you normally classify products by handling conditions in terms of temperature by three major categories. One is what is called as control room temperature, CRT, and these are also referred to as the ambient products. They can go without any active or any passive controls around them, but they still need to be transported within label. And normally the label is below 25 degrees. That constitutes a major bulk of the movement of the farm product. The other one that people normally refer to as cold chain is what is called as 2 to 8. Okay, And then there, when you have to maintain at 228, then you will need to have the support of packaging that with or without any active cooling solutions or with some passive solutions, you need to maintain the temperature. So, and the third one is these are frozen products. Okay, then you have heard of -20 and -70 vaccines, so on and so forth. Now, this requirement comes from the requirement of the product itself. So, hence, it is important to maintain the efficacy and the safety of the product. Now, what has happened recently is because of the focus and because of the vaccines that were introduced that required cold chain, so it has come, it has come into public discourse about this requirement of cold chain. And what the industry, the logistics fraternity has understood is that for managing the cold chain, it is each and every milestone that is important, because at every event milestone, and I'm talking about the physical milestones like handing over of cargo to the airline, offloading the cargo at the airport, loading it to the aircraft, etc. There is a touch that is involved, and when there's a touch that is involved, there is also a vulnerability that comes in. So hence creating a digital layer of visibility through IoT devices, through data loggers, whether you review the data later or you're doing that review of data online. So what has happened is understanding the importance of monitoring each and every step in the cold chain. So that is what has come into focus, and that is what needs to be managed very well to ensure ultimately patient safety and the medicines reach the patients the way I intended to. So that's my short summary to your question.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the importance of the cold chain management, especially for to maintain the integrity and efficacy of the product in entire supply chain process till the time it is the medicine taken by the this thing. At the same time, sir, you mentioned about this thing because it has the loopholes, like where touch points you have spoke about touch points. So it become a collective, I would say, the efforts of all the stakeholders, be it the manufacturer, transporter, freight forwarder, or shipping lines, airlines, to come together and understand that the importance of this cold chain and come together and ensure to play their part and handle it very carefully, so that we are able to manage these unbroken cold chain management. So thank you so much, sir, for highlighting this. Now, moving on to our next topic and to our next speaker, Mr. Hali, who is representing one of the world's largest cargo airline, Turkish Airline. And as we understand, airline plays a major role in terms of pharma supply chain when it comes to high value as well as cold chain products specifically, I would say. Therefore, people has been talking about, as like Dr. Mathur mentioned, that there are issues in terms of temperature handling or excursion at airports during tarmac loading, unloading, transits and all. So there has been certain, I would say, always issue been there in when the shipments is going through air. So, Mr. Halit, I would like to understand, from you, like as an airline perspective, how does airline works towards maintaining this unbroken cold chain product during transportation once the shipment is custom cleared and handed over to the airlines? So, if you can, brief our audience about airlines working towards and airlines, the strategies towards maintaining the unbroken cold chain management. Over to you, Mr. Ali.
Thank you, Prakash. Yes, unbroken cold chain is very important, and it's not the only product that a cargo airline carries, but it's one of the most important ones. And as Dr. Motor mentioned, some needs some special equipment also, and the facility should be also proper. That's there, and I will elaborate about it. But before that, the crucial part is the people who is handling the shipment in the origin, in the hub, in the destination. So these people, these colleagues are very crucial to be able to be trained properly and knowing the product and making sure that the cold chain is unbroken. from origin perspective, we invest on all our colleagues in all levels to train them. Like recently, our managers in our operation manager in Mumbai and cargo manager in Hyderabad, they attended one IATA training, temperature control cargo operations. So they know the product better. Our sales teams attend to Pharma GTP trainings, and they are visiting our HQ, meeting with the related teams, knowing the product better, understand all touch points from their perspective. In the hub, of course, we have trained a pharma care team, special cargo operation team, 724 customer service team that makes sure that temperature control cargo is handled and loaded on a priority basis. In the destination, of course, in the major hubs, we have our own operation team as well as the GHA teams that we are regularly in touch, and we categorize the station capabilities. So not to promise that what something that we can't deliver. So destination perspective also is covered like that. When it comes to the hub, our Smart East facility that's fully equipped with the requirements of a temperature control facility that's needed, with dedicated acceptance waiting area, ramp transfer, and dedicated temperature control storage room and operation area for build up and breakdown for not only 1525 but also 2 to 8 degrees shipments are built up and breakdown in a special control room. So there is no excursion. So temperature controlled ULD storage we also have for 2 to 8 and 15 to 25. This is automated, and 200 ULDs we can store. So this way there is one less touch point for this 200 ULD. We directly transfer. We have a direct transfer route from warehouse to freighters, where the freighters are located like 100 meters from the warehouse. So that way also there is very less exposure. And of course, cool dollies are available to be used. So I think with the qualified staff and this cutting edge technologies, we maintain the integrity of cold chain products. And I think that's how I can summarize.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Khalid, for highlighting these points. 2 points I just would like to re-highlight, which were mentioned, which are very critical, to be understood. One is this: you are having the pharma GDP training in place for the staff. At the same time, you mentioned that you are having a trained staff who is handling the pharma, cargo when it comes to the airline custody. So these, I would say, these are the main resources, and it's pharma GDP training again in around to the the manpower or having the skilled manpower is a key in handling the pharmaceutical. And I see this is my perspective that most of the airlines, global airlines, are very strong when it comes to their hub, transit hub. They are having all sort of facilities, experienced staff, as well as all the resources in terms of cold chain, and everything is in place. As you mentioned that the pharma GDP training, that is something that will help other station also. So I think all the airlines should take that perspective. They should pass on the the expertise of having in place at their hub. It has to be passed on to the origin as well as destination team as well. So as long as the staff is well aware and trained about pharma shipment handling, I'm sure they will be able to do better job. So thank you so much for mentioning these points, Mr. Khalid. So now I would like to go to Mr. Jonathan, who is an expert today. He's having the expertise in terms of handling the cold chain as well as DGR cargo, and he's one of the expert having the deep insight about cold chain management as well. So my question to Jonathan is that nowadays there are so many packaging solution, monitoring solutions are available, and it's really sometimes confusing for the shippers or as well as the freight forwarder to decide what type of packaging has to be used. There are single-use packaging are there, multiple-use packagings are there, other different type of packaging solutions are available. So I would like to, ask you, Jonathan, if you can, highlight like what kind of packaging solutions are available, what kind of monitoring solutions are available. Some of them are IoT based, GPS, or data logging. Different types of are there. And also, if you can, highlight some, major points, criteria in deciding the right size of packaging for the particular shipments. So
Thanks,
over to you,
Prakash.
Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks, Prakash, for the opportunity to talk on this forum. Coming to your questions, question of the core type of packaging, there are three types of packaging solutions which are available. One is active. Active are usually active solutions are electric. It's electric cooling and heating solutions which is provided. So typically those are kind of high cost, but the temperature accuracy is more as compared to other packaging solutions. And the handling of this is a little because it's on the higher side. The weight of the packaging, the containers are on the higher side, so it needs to be taken out of the airport, and there can be chances where the broken cold chain can be broken. So that is one. Next is we have the passive solutions where passive solutions use PCM-based gel pack or gel-based gel packs, which needs to be conditioned. And these packaging can give better performance if it is used as per the procedure or how it is tested by the manufacturer. So if there is any changes which is done with regards to the conditioning of these gel packs or misplacing the gel packs in a wrong direction or a wrong place, can lead to temperature variation. So those are passive solutions, and so these packaging can be reused. The third one is the hybrid solution, which is not widely used, but it uses a combination of PCM and a thermostatic control packaging. So that is not widely used, but mostly widely used packaging solutions are passive and active solutions. So coming on to the tracking solutions, yes, there are temperature monitors available to track the shipments during transit, where the monitors are placed inside the packaging next to the product to track the shipment temperature during transit. So that is placed at the time of pickup and taken out at the time of delivery. So that is one part of the logger. Another one we have is the GPS enabled geofencing temperature monitors, which is used for the shipments, where we can have the live tracking of the shipments during transit. That happens only when the shipments is the logger is in contact with the nearest uh, the tower where it has to be used. So that is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is one. And so, with regards to the next question, where you asked about the factors, so there are four important factors which is considered to choose a particular packaging system. So, one is the transit temperatures. What are the transit temperatures which the shipment can go through? Then we have the transit times. How long will a shipment take from point A to point B? Or if it's going via some destination, what is the transit time it will take? Then we have the the product size. What are the product size which is available where a particular packaging system has to be chosen, and the refrigerant volume. So it all depends on the product size and what type of packaging solution or a product refrigerant volume is used for a particular shipment, where the temperature can be maintained throughout the transit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Jonathan, for these informative details. And I'm sure like there is a science behind it while selecting the right size of packaging. What kind of data logger or GPS enabled to be used or not. So definitely it will help to our audience. Thank you so much. Moving on to very interesting topic in our today's discussion is about technology. So technology is everywhere now. Technology changing our day-to-day life. It transforming the world. It transforming the process. Everything. And with that, I want to go Dr. Mathur, who is very tech friendly, and he has been talking on various forums about the importance of having the touch based supply chain solutions. So, Dr. Mathur, like, we nowadays people are talking a lot about like artificial, like Mr. Soumitra was also talking, Mr. Halit was also mentioning about artificial intelligence, blockchain, RFID, and there are so many, other, technological reforms that people are talking about. Can you please, my question to you, how this technology and is reshaping the, this digitalization, I would say, reshaping the pharma supply chain, and how, if you can give some, live example, practical example, that if how this is practically is now implemented into pharma supply chain. So over to you, Dr. Mathur.
So no, there can be many examples, but fundamentally, first we have to understand that what is it that we are trying to derive out of technology, and whether it is digital technology or any other technology that we are talking about. At a very simple level of understanding, what we are trying to do through technology is basically automate. I mean, whether we're talking about very complicated machines or we're talking about digital algorithms, at a very fundamental level of understanding, we are uh, one creating a digital layer of information, and then whether it is activities, physical activities, or whether these are digital processes, we are creating something which is we creating automating things. So at the most basic layer, there is an effort of simplification of things. Now, when we're talking about use of technology, we have to understand that our technology will only automate only your existing process. Okay, so if your underlying process or the touches, as you were talking about, the number of touches you're doing in the process has a fault in the design itself, the underlying process itself is not efficient, then you're not going to be getting any efficiencies from proceeding on that journey of technology or digitization. On the contrary, if your process is wasteful, then technology will just also make that waste faster and will create much more waste than you were actually doing earlier. So technology has to be seen something in parallel with your understanding of processes, your design of the process. So before you embark on your technology journey, I would say that people should first of all understand the total value stream of what you're trying to map. Find out where the constraints are. Find out how you can simplify the process per se with or without technology. So, in some cases, technology itself brings efficiencies, but efficiencies will come only when the underlying process that you're trying to automate has been designed, efficiently. So that is my take on that. You wanted an example? I can take a very simple example of a technology that we use on transportation management system. So these transport management systems help people in rate discovery, automate the procure to pay cycle, uh, create a digital layer on visibility of event milestones. So a lot of things can be done provided you get your master configured correctly, and you also have a very clear understanding of what your processes are and also what you're trying to achieve by implementing that technology. So technology in itself is not a panacea. It is your understanding of the pathway of your process and the digital pathway you're creating to what you're doing in real life, how you get it onto the digital layer. That would be my response to your question, Prakash. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would say the technology is future, and definitely you rightly mentioned, sir. It helps in terms of simplify the process as well as automate the the process. But before what goes in comes out, so the process should be in right process. If we have right process in place, definitely technology will further simplify and automate the process. So thank you so much, sir, for these information. Thank you. Moving on to next topic, I would like to go back to Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee, because in India, if I talk about India perspective, there are a lot more reforms are happening. When we talk about the healthcare industry, there are so many reforms are happening, therefore into the healthcare supply chain as well. So recently, Ministry of Health has brought a new mandate related to having the barcode or QR code on the medicines packaging. So which has just to have the authenticity that all the medicines which are going into the supply chain are traceable, authentic, and reaching to the which is ensuring the patient safety ultimately. I would like to understand from you, Mr. Soumitra, how do you view this new mandate from Ministry of Health, from Government of India? At the same time, what are the challenge you must be facing some while implementing these new mandate? What are the challenges as a manufacturer you are facing? And at the same time, would like to know what are the positive outcomes that we are expecting from this new mandate. So over to you, Mr. Soumitra. So you are on mute.
Yeah. Now audible? Yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you
audible.
for the question. Yeah, so this mandate basically requires initially some 300 products has to be barcoded with information such as the product identification code, generic name, the brand name, manufacturer's address, batch number, expiry date, license number. It is basically dubbed as Aadhaar card of a product. So basically, it contains all this information, whatever about the medicine it is, uh, which is a good thing because it gives us visibility for the product. It gives us transparency and accountability because as soon as the product is scanned, the patient will get all the information on their or their app. Say, for example, if they're using a phone, camera-based phone, they'll get all the information. Is it spurious or no? So I would term in many other what do you say from different point of view. Say, for example, from a manufacturer point of view is we can set up a uniform product. Quality spurious drugs will be what do you say counterfeiting will be stopped because with this you can get correct information. You get visibility throughout the chain as soon as from the time it is manufactured to send to the distributor to the chemist to the hospital. You know what is the status of the product. Is it low? Is it stock out? So what it is, so you get all the information. It optimizes the stock levels, so you're aware how much to produce and not. From hospitals and patient point of view, which is also a touch point, it streamlines the dispensing because right now what is many times what is happens is you have to manually take out the drugs. It is visually seen, so there are errors that can happen. Once it is digitized, automatic system can flag it up if there's an issue. There's an automation, as Dr. Mathur said. Automation is one of the part where this can help with inbound and outbound in all the touch points from manufacturing to the end user, and it reduces human error basically. Also, it gives us the authentication for the patient. From patient's point of view, as I said, it gives an authentication to the product that I am taking a right product, not a spurious, because there are a lot of spurious drugs that has been floating around the market. It improves the inventory level, the monitoring, and when we are dealing in pharma supply chain. We also are bound to have recalls, if at all. So this helps to uniquely identify where the product is at what time and can be stopped and can be easily recalled. So this is a very important point. There is it help to save lives. So in benefit it is end-to-end traceability from basically manufacturing to patient. Now, since you asked what are the challenges that we are facing, challenges is technology, because you have to, this is a hologram, painting a hologram on vials or on blisters or on small tablet packet is very difficult because it is said primary or secondary, but still, uh, manufacturer have to purchase machinery, because it cannot be on an artwork, it cannot be on a carton directly, because it will change from batch to batch. So it has to be printed at the plant. So this has to be technology. So there's a lot of huge investment has to be done. So this will be a challenge for smaller manufacturers who simply make products and third party or get it done from someone else. So it will be challenging for them. One more challenge I see is training and education for all, because since it busy being implemented, so training to their own team members, to stakeholders, all across the chain, that will be difficult. Also, some of the challenge that infrastructure asset, training asset, and then about the regulatory compliance, it is also important that we comply with all the regulatory, that is that the specific measures has to be done. We have to conduct audits. So with the benefits, there are some challenges which we'll all have to, because ultimately it is for the greater good and it gives greater benefits. So this is my answer to you.
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much for this, comprehensive information on this subject. And what I would say, like, changes, as you rightly said, the changes are not, are always, challenging for initial days, definitely. But what we
Yeah.
understood is that it's a welcome move, sir. I would say it will bring a lot more
Yes.
transparency and end-to-end
Yes.
visibility into the system. And at the same
Yeah.
time, the ultimate goal will be served, that is, having the right medicines to the patient. So definitely we'll
Yeah.
take out the fake drugs from the system. So thank you so much, sir,
Correct.
and I'm sure it will definitely help to our audience to understand about this subject, as we see some reservations about this because it has some challenges initially, but I'm sure it is a welcome move. So thank you so much for explaining it. Now, I would like to go back to Mr. Khalid once again to understand, related to Indian air cargo industry. So, Mr. Khalid, like, recently we see, Ministry of Aviation, Aviation Ministry, Government of India is, targeting to grow air cargo by 2030, 10 million tons. This is definitely a difficult task, but it is not impossible. It can be achieved if we put all the stakeholders put their efforts and act together. I'm sure the future is bright for Indian air cargo. I would like to understand from you, since you have the expertise of air cargo, how can we, what are the strategies or initiatives that government of India or the stakeholders like freight forwarder, airport authorities, cargo handlers, airlines has to take, and what kind of the motivation is how we can motivate also to the pharma manufacturer and other industries to achieve this goal, this goal of 10 million ton by 2030. So over to you, Mr. Khalid.
Thank you. Actually, uh, Turkish Cargo operates now to 6 airports in India. Bombay and Delhi with passenger and cargo, but Ahmedabad, Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore only cargo operation. So we heavily depend on cargo freighters rather than passenger aircraft. And in passenger, maybe we are not one of the top carriers, but for cargo, we are the top 3 carrier in one of the top 3 carriers in India. So that shows the importance that we are giving to the India market. And India is very well known as the pharma hub of the world, the pharmaceutical pharmacy of the world. So across the globe, I think this is the third largest commodity India exports. And during pandemic, the importance of air cargo with pharma sector of India was highlighted greatly. And with this drive, I am observing more focus to the pharma supply chain, which is very positive. Uh, to be able to create air cargo friendly solution, and from the origin perspective, as in India, of course, it is a manufacturing country, but to send it across in a proper way in the airports, I think there should be forums like this, which all stakeholders come together and understand each other's needs and expectations. So the products and the services can be accordingly established, and like what we do, we always listen to the needs of the customers, and we fine tune our product. Like we have not one, but three different pharma products, because this is the need of the industry. So accordingly, each and every stakeholder can listen to the people that they are working with in this, and fine tune their understanding, and address the issues that the others are facing. So, like we always dynamically adapt ourselves. I think the same approach will help the industry to be future proof. We are ready to, of course, operate to more and more stations to be able to deliver in less time, because air cargo means delivering the cargo in a shorter period. So, in that perspective, we it's 6 stations, but we are ready to also operate to more stations wherever need. Of course, provided that the infrastructure in the airport wise and handling wise, everything is ready. So that's why we are always open for discussions and adapting our service.
Thank you. Thank you, Halit. You rightly said India being the pharmacy of the world, definitely it has pharmaceutical industry has a major. It is one of the largest commodity, I would say, shipping by air. So pharmaceutical industry is one who is going to, definitely contribute more into this government of India's vision by 10 million a ton by 2030. So thank you so much. And more capacities are, definitely would be more most welcome in India, especially when we talk about the cargo freighters and all. So I would like to quickly go to Mr. Jonathan to understand. There are so many, discussion happen day out, day in, day out, related to qualified versus non-qualified packaging systems. So generally, shippers and the stakeholders always have the in mind, because qualified packaging comes with the higher cost as well compared to non-qualified packaging. But when it comes to pharma, which is highly regulated industry, the qualified packaging is the always recommended by the quality as well as the regulatory authorities. So let's understand from Mr. Jonathan related to using qualified packaging system against the non-qualified packaging. Jonathan, if you can quickly, considering that paucity of time, quickly brief
Yeah.
our audience.
Yeah, thanks, Prakash. So, validated and non-validated packaging. So usually validated qualified packaging is tested in the facilities, and it can give an accurate temperature range during transit. So if it is used as per the procedures. So there are different types of packaging available for different temperatures. Like Dr. Mata pointed out, we have controlled ambient, refrigerated, we have controlled frozen, we have deep frozen, and we have cryogenics as well. So all these packagings have different validated packagings available. So when we're using a validated packaging, the temperature during transit is kind of fixed, and there's no deviation. So that is if the package is used properly, as compared to a non-validated packaging where the packaging is not tested. Normal carton box or the thermocol box is used with a non-validated gel pack where the temperature doesn't maintain during transit. So if you see in Indian market is usually cost conscious, so most of the shippers they prefer to have a low non-validated packaging due to the cost, because the cost of the validated packaging as compared to non-validated is costlier. So to save on the logistics cost, the shippers usually tend to go in for a non-validated packaging. So to avoid this or to maintain the temperature or to have the product integrity, always suggested to go in for a validated packaging to maintain the integrity and product stability during transit.
Thank you, Jonathan, for mentioning. You rightly said it may be look non-validated may look cheaper initially, but when it comes to the cost of product integrity, maintaining the temperature, and ultimately patient safety, it is always advisable that we always should use the validated and qualified packaging system when it comes to the pharma supplies. And thank you so much. So with that, I would like to move quickly to Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur to understand. Nowadays, we are talking about direct to patient, direct from home healthcare services. So the healthcare facilities are coming, be it diagnostic or even the radiology facilities are being provided to the patient at home. Like we do the online shopping and e-commerce deliver everything at our grocery, anything at our home. Even medicines are being shipped to home. So the future, I know now more and more patient-centric drugs are being developed. So there is an approach is changing towards patient-centric supply chain. So I would like to understand quickly from Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur that what are your views on developing a patient-centric pharmaceutical supply chain, and especially when it comes to like direct to patient or home healthcare. So over to you, Dr. Mathur.
Thanks, Prakash, for the very topical question. Uh, Very relevant, in terms of future supply chains. But before we even go to micro segmentation or customized medicine or home healthcare, even at what we are doing right now, let's try to understand what we mean by what actually patient-centric supply chain or patient-centric operation should mean, even before we go to the future design of taking medicine directly to the home and all those other aspects that you mentioned. Even in our daily operations, when you're handling a pallet or a shipper or a carton, unloading a pallet at a warehouse, or performing some operations into the warehouse, you have to understand that the material that is probably an SKU code for you, a product code for you on the paper, and is a pallet in the physical world, is actually going to change the life of a patient. Okay, so that mindfulness has to come in any activity that you do. Whether you are preparing for dispatch, whether you are packing, whether you are manufacturing, whether you are handling that pallet at the airport or handling that pallet at a transshipment warehouse, that mindfulness and understanding that what you are doing is actually going to impact the patient's life. And if you do it right, the patient is going to heal. If you don't do it right, the safety and the efficacy of the product is going to get impacted, and there could be an adversarial impact as well. Okay, so patient centricity comes in everything that we do.
I think some technical problem. Uh, we are missing Dr. Mathur. Rachita, can you hear to Dr. Mathur?
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay. So our discussion is going so well, and can you hear Rachita? I can't hear Dr. Mathur.
No, I can't hear him either. I think there's some
Okay, some technical
technical
issues are there.
issue here. Yeah. I
We missed
guess.
you in between, sir.
Sorry, am I back in the sir?
Absolutely,
Yes.
sir. You are.
So,
So there was a signal drop. Sorry.
No
So
problem. Yeah.
so shall I pick up from where I
Yes,
left?
yes, sir. You can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one aspect of the question that you had asked, and the other thing is that when we go to micro segmentation, you also have to also acknowledge another trend that is there, and that is digital healthcare. Okay, so now with these handheld devices or health watches, you're getting very patient centric data into your system. And you can pick up that data and you can start analyzing that data and also start building up supply chain strategies based on very patient centric data. Whether you have the capability in terms of supply chain design to build that into your fulfillment process, that is something we'll have to plan for. But yes, micro-segmentation, patient-centric data, because that technology will be there to support you with that kind of an information. We'll have to design your supply chains in the future that enable a patient, individual patient to get his specified, prescription delivered to him, and not only just the prescription in terms of the drug, but also an integrated healthcare approach. And in that area, digital will have a very big role to play for that.
Thank you, Dr. Mathur, for this information. And I would say our discussion is going so well and interesting. I really wish we could continue for some more time, but my logistic insider colleagues are requesting me for time check. Therefore, considering the paucity of time, I would like to take this opportunity to thanks to all our audience and our panel members. And I'm sure with the discussion which we had during this session is definitely going to help our audience in a big way. Last but not the least, I would like to thanks our Logistic Insider team to organize this event so well. And I'm really hoping that definitely we will have such more events in future as well with the support of Logistic Insider team. As Gina always believe in imparting the knowledge with the industry stakeholders and colleagues around the industry. With that, I would like to hand over the session to Rachita for Q&A session. So back to you, Rachita. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh, and thank you so much to all of our panelists. I was really, glued on listening to what all of you were saying, and I must say the session was equally, comprehensive and crisp. Now, with that, let's take a few questions. Our audience have posted a few questions. We'll start with the question posted by Karvi Rana. She says that with the increasing digitization of supply chain processes, how do you address concerns related to data security and cybersecurity threats that could potentially impact sensitive pharmaceutical information? Any one of you can take up that question. Prakash sir, would you like to redirect?
Yeah, can you, there is some, I could not hear you. Can you repeat once?
Sure, sure. The question is, with the increasing digitization of supply chain processes, how do you address concerns related to data security and cybersecurity threats that could potentially impact sensitive pharmaceutical information? The question is also flashing on your screens at this moment.
Yeah, I can see. So I would say Dr. Mathur to take over this question. Thanks.
No, so I am not a data security expert, not by a long shot. Uh, Probably a technical person would have been more competent to answer that. I am as much of the layman on this area as anybody else on the panel is. But probably what I know is that there are security protocols that are in place. There are mechanisms to mitigate that kind of a risk. Uh, Having said that, it's not that the threat is not real. The threat is definitely real. But for now, I'll have to leave that answer at that stage.
Right. Would any one of you would like to add on to it? Okay, okay. Let's
So
So I
move
I
on.
think,
would
yeah,
echo I would echo his thought because
go
what
ahead,
Dr.
please.
Pathuri said, we are not an experts in
No,
this.
of
So,
course,
but then
of
yes,
course.
it's a real threat.
Yeah,
Right. I'm
it's a
sure.
real
I
threat,
mean,
but the regulators are there. Definitely, things
right,
will be, as Dr. Mathur said, that there would be some control mechanism for everything, whether it is AI or blockchain. Everything has a control system in place,
hmm,
and the ministries are definitely working towards that. And then only things will be allowed to implement into it. So
right,
definitely there would be issues, but that will be addressed. I'm sure will be addressed with time.
right. And I think after the recent cyber attacks, be it Ukraine or the US, at ports, um, technology and cybersecurity is something that is being developed hand in hand. It's not just you're bringing technology solutions, but you're not focusing on cyber threats. I think that just works both ways. Moving on to the next question, that's from Sham Karan, and he says, can we use data analytics and data science for analysis for every point for better research with technology? uh, I'm not sure what exactly he means, but I think he says he wants to ask what particular role does data analytics and data science play for research when it comes to pharma supply chains.
So
So,
I'll take that question and try to answer it. Now,
yeah.
see, there is data science, machine learning, and advanced analytics are already being used in research, whether it is you talk about pharma specific research or any other kind of research. One way that this artificial intelligence is defined by that AI is
uh,
maps for intuition. Okay, so this and
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Your voice is breaking a lot. We're
So
not
you may
able to
switch
hear
to
you
camera
properly.
for once.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to turn off your camera. Probably that will give a little boost to the audio. Okay. In the meanwhile, let's move on to the next question. Mr. Simanchala Kadanga asks, how does the reverse supply chain operate in the pharma sector for medicines, which has overshoot its expiry date?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I can take up that, Prakash.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, when a particular medicine is imported, it should be imported in a proper cargo clearance manner, because most of the times we see the clients import the shipments through a courier mode, where formal clearance is not done. So when a clinical trial particular project is getting over and we have the expired medicines, and when they want to re-export it, is when they face a challenge. So when we are re-exporting this particular medicines to the origin where it has come from, so we need to usually submit the imported bill of entry copy against which the shipment was cleared. So against that, the shipment is filed again, stating that the shipment will be re-exported back to origin. So this is the right process which expired medicine needs to be re-exported, exported back again to the origin.
All right. Thank you.
I
Thank
can
you
take
so much.
Anybody?
for domestic.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I can take it for domestic being manufactured when a product is expired, because we all handle in cold chain. So within when it's expired, it doesn't matter for the cold chain to be present or not. So so the distributor or our chemist, so they have, or the hospital, they have to send back our product to the manufacturer. It has to come to us in a proper packaging with proper documentation saying with the reasons and all. So it has to wherein if once it reaches a documentation process, wherein all this what is came back, what is the batch, when what is supplied to, all this documentation has to be done, and following that it has to be incinerated, it has to be destructed, and all the documents has to be posted that so and so product was manufacturing, this is the expiry, this is what we have bought. So there's a document trail has to be there, proving from the manufacturing to the product end user coming back to the destruction. So that's how it has to be. So it closes the entire loop. So that is important.
Right. Right. Okay, so talking about documentation, I think our next question is well suited. That's it's from Bhaskar Bhuyan, and he asks, "Can you share your approach to maintaining proper documentation and audit trail to demonstrate compliance?"
Jonathan, you would like to take this question?
Yes. So when it comes to documentation, is when the shipment, in respective of shipments getting cleared for imports or for exports. So the documentation plays a very important role, because when it comes to IPs, where a particular drug license has to be there for importing the shipment. So the shippers or the IOs or AUOs has to ensure that the proper documentation or proper licenses are in place when a shipment is executed. So without proper documentation, the shipments don't get cleared. So which leads to shipments getting stuck in customs and causing delays in custom clearance and hampering the cold chain of the shipment also. So it is very important. Proper original documentation also is given for shipment clearance so that the shipment can go transported smoothly and can be cleared smoothly.
Right, right. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and our esteemed panel members, I will be wrapping up the Q&A session here due to the paucity of time. We do have a few more questions to go, but it's already 4:15. We have exceeded our time limit. I thank you all for joining us today, and I hope that you guys found the discussion to be informative and thought-provoking. And now our experts discuss the loopholes and challenges that one comes across while operating the complex modern day pharma supply chains, as well as the solutions to those challenges, including tech adoption, collaboration, infra creation, and skill development. I would like to thank our speakers, Mr. Vinod Jonathan, Mr. Soumitra Chatterjee, Mr. Halik Kansa, and Dr. Ravi Prakash Mathur for sharing their expertise with us. Their insights into the topic were truly invaluable. And finally, I would like to thank our moderator, Mr. Prakash Singh, for keeping the discussion on track. And I'm sure, as you must have noticed, his questions were thought provoking and helped to ensure that we covered all of the important points. Now, for the audience who have posted questions and they were not taken up, please feel free to reach out to us or any of the speakers. We would be happy to answer them. Last but not the least, I would also like to thank Gina and Co once again for powering this initiative. Your support has been instrumental. Now, with that, I would like to draw the curtains down for this immensely insightful session. Thank you once again, everyone, for your time and have a great rest of the day. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.